kinds in the world. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM. Welcome to Intuitive Transformations with your host, Sylvia Henderson, and discover tools, wisdom, and inspiration that will empower you to transform your life. Sylvia is an intuitive life coach and energy healer with a growing practice that is focused on empowering others to be more of who they want to be. For the next hour, join Sylvia and explore and unravel anything in the way of you creating the life that you would love to live on the OMTimes Radio Network.
Hello and welcome to the Intuitive Transformations radio show, where you will find tools that you can use to transform your life. I'm Sylvia Henderson. I'm your host, and you are listening to OMTimes Radio on IOM.FM. And for all of you mobile device users, did you know that you can listen to OMTimes Radio from anywhere in the world, all around the globe on your mobile device without having to download or install a mobile device app? Well, if you didn't, then hop on over to the OMTimes Radio website at iom.fm and click on the Universal Device Player. And that'll plug you right into the network so that you can listen to the crystal clear, high definition sound of OMTimes Radio 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And for all of you listeners, if you have not had an opportunity yet to check out the wonderful musical options and offerings that are available at OMTimes Radio, or have had a chance yet to listen to some of the other shows that are available on the network, then I invite you to do that. We have an array of some really amazing individuals that are consciously aware and have a lot of wonderful information to provide that will help you in your life and bring more consciousness to you. By the way, you can find me here every Sunday evening at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and also that would be 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So thank you all for tuning in this evening. I really appreciate it. I want you to know that I really do truly believe that you are here listening to this show by design and not by accident, because I'm going to talk about how to create your reality using the law of attraction. And there's been a lot of information out there on the law of attraction. It's kind of become a buzz phrase out there, and there are people that are saying, 10 steps to this, and this is the secret to the secret to the secret of the law of attraction. So I want you to know that I'm going to talk about the law of attraction a little bit differently than how you may have heard about it in the past. My intention for this show is to really shed some light on some of the obstacles that can prohibit your desired outcomes from actually manifesting. And now I have to admit that this actually has over the last week become a bigger challenge for me than I thought it would, because there are a ton of little nuances that affect how the law of attraction shows up in your life. But I'm just going to do the best that I can, and I really just want to share some key points this evening. And so it's going to be a little bit of an overview. It won't be Law of Attraction 101. This is going to provide you with some things that you maybe didn't consider, or maybe you even did. I don't know. But I want to deliver this in a way that it's consumable for everyone, and that I can get as much information to you as I can as we go through our hour in our time together. So I will try to avoid heading too far down, deep down into the rabbit hole, since I only have about an hour to share. And again, I want to make sure it's understandable and it's something you can easily implement. So hold on to your seats, This is going to be a little bit of a wild ride, but I hope that you will find something in it that you can actually use in your life. Before I move on, though, for those of you who are listening to my show for the very first time, I'd like to share a little bit about myself and a little bit about what I do. As it was mentioned in the setup for the show, I am an intuitive life coach and I'm an energy healer. I have over 16 years of experience in the mind, body, spirit field. In particular, my focus has been on shifting limiting belief systems and doing it in a energetic fashion. And I primarily focus on stress relief and helping individuals resolve past emotional traumas. And that's really about helping people to solve problems that they have in their life. So I help them solve everything from, and resolve, I should say, relationship problems to money issues and everything else in between. Because in truth, stress is, it's a perception. And it's something that's created and experienced when we feel we're facing a problem that we don't believe we have the ability to resolve. And it actually is usually what we believe about the problem that cements the problem in its place, which really ties into what I'm going to share this evening about the law of attraction. If you would like to learn more about me, or if you'd like to contact me for a private session, then just visit my website at intuitivetransformations.net or send me an email at sylvia@intuitivetransformations.net. I work with clients from all around the globe via Skype, so appointments do not have to be in person in order for them to be effective. So now that I've got all that out of the way and you know who I am, at least a little bit about who I am and what I do, let's talk about the law of attraction. Let's just go ahead and dig in, shall we? I have to admit that the law of attraction is one of my favorite subjects because it's something that I've studied intensively since about 2003 when I first stumbled across it. It's interesting. It's a law. It's been around forever, but I think the terminology and the phraseology of it it's been around for a while. But I think that there was that secret DVD that came out, and prior to that, Abraham Hicks was definitely out there sharing about the law of attraction, discussing it, and teaching people how it works, what it is, and how to utilize it to your highest good. So as a result of my passion for it, I've invested a great deal of time and energy and money just trying to understand, just wanting to really understand, how do I manifest what I desire in a constant fashion so that I could go, okay, I'm just going to go and I'm going to have this situation manifest here and I'm going to manifest what I want consistently. But in my own personal experience, it feels a little bit more like trying to jump into a moving freight train. For the most part, I kept missing the door. I don't know about you. Sometimes I'd get in the train and sometimes I didn't. So it didn't always turn out exactly as I planned. And I don't know about you, but that gets really frustrating, especially if this is, it's a law, right? So it should be consistent, right? So here's what I've learned after my many years of invested time and study. Because I don't have a ton of time to get too deep into the concepts that are important. I'm not going to go over the long history of the law of attraction. All that information can be found on the OMTimes radio website in the description section for this show that was provided there. I just want to jump right into the nuts and the bolts of it. And what I will be sharing is my interpretation of how this works. I have followed and listened to and read Abraham Hicks fairly extensively, but also, to be quite honest, I believe that the law of attraction has been around since the dawn of time, and it's written about in many of the ancient texts that we have, the sacred texts that we have available. It's a huge part in the Bible, even though there's a lot of people that read the Bible that might argue that point. I would have to say that it is there. I mean, there's a very classic verse in there that very clearly states, "As a man thinketh, so he is," which really, in a nutshell, sums up the total essence of the law of attraction. And so what I will be sharing is my interpretation, as long as what Abraham Hicks, at least what I believe Abraham Hicks has been trying to get us to understand for over a decade now, as well as the information that I've received from my own guidance. And I will say this, for those of you who are not familiar with Abraham Hicks, Abraham Hicks is a stream of consciousness that is that has been and is channeled through a woman by the name of Esther Hicks, and her now late husband, Jerry Hicks, spent most of their time and energy traveling around the globe talking about this law of attraction, as Abraham was using Esther's voice, but Abraham's consciousness, to try to get us to understand that we are responsible for our own reality, that we are magnificent creators, and that we do have the power to create our experiences. So the first thing we're going to talk about is the fact, and I do believe it is a fact, that the law of attraction is a universal law of divine consciousness. So just like the law of gravity is a law, the law of attraction is also a law. So some people might say, well, how could that be? Well, I'm going to explain that to you when we return from the break. So please stay tuned, and we'll cover all of that when we get back.
Your conscious connection to a more mindful world. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM. Being a radio host on IOM FM allows you to build your show on a rich platform with the power of the internet to fulfill your outreach goals and connect with a very specialized and global online audience, unlimited by time and distance. OMTimes Radio will provide you with web relevance, a recognizable conscious brand, and with the standard of excellence that has accompanied every single OMTimes endeavor. Host your show with OMTimes Radio Network.
Circle of Hearts Radio is a sanctuary on the airwaves. Join me, Grandmother Elia, in the circle on Sunday, 2 p.m. Eastern, as I share information to both enlighten and nourish your soul.
The Laying Out of Hands Healing Radio Show is about treating the whole person, mind, body, and spirit. Join me, Charles Smith, as I share life-balancing measures such as nutrition and spiritual practices to help you take charge of your own health and wellness every Thursday at 7 p.m. on OMTimes Radio.
Simone Milasas would like you to know that business can be fun, which is why she wrote the book, Joy of Business. What if you could have the joy of business rather than the stress and struggle? Most of the time, the only thing stopping you from a thriving business is you. In the Joy of Business book, Simone gives you access consciousness tools and pragmatic ways to get out of your own way and to create the business, life, and living you know is possible and beyond what this reality says is achievable. Business is joy. It's creation. It's generative. It can be the adventure of living. You can purchase your copy of the book through Amazon or Joy of Business website, www.accessjoyofbusiness.com. Conscious media for conscious minds. OMTimes.
All right, now welcome back. You are listening to Intuitive Transformations with Sylvia Henderson on OMTimes Radio. And I am talking about how to create your reality using the law of attraction. Before we went into our break, I was sharing about some of my experiences with the law of attraction, and that is feeling like it was a little bit like jumping on board a speeding train and sometimes missing the door. So, I have some key concepts that I would love to share with you that I think will be very helpful for you if you have had a similar feeling or experience when it comes to the law of attraction. It's like, I kind of get it, but I kind of don't, or it kind of works, but it kind of doesn't. So, there are five key components. So the first one is that the law of attraction is a universal law of divine consciousness. It is actually what divinity, the creator of all that is, used when it first began the creation process. But I'm not going to dig down deep into that because that would be a little bit too far down the rabbit hole. Let's just start with explaining the fact that it is a law. So just like the law of gravity is a law, it is absolutely, irrefutably a law. And there are some people that, oh, that law of attraction is just, but you know what? It's in all of the sacred texts. It's been talked about since 3000 BC. It has been something that we use on a regular basis. When you think about it, I mean, just really think about the fact that the chair that you're sitting in first became an idea and a thought before it became a manifested reality. So everything that we experience in our reality starts off first as a thought and an idea, something without form, something without substance, so to speak, other than the substance of our imagination. So, just like gravity, the law of attraction is not as simple as you would think. And you might be thinking, well, Sylvia, the law of gravity, that's pretty simple. I mean, you drop something and it falls on the ground. Or you throw something in the air and yeah, it's going to come back down. Yeah, you're absolutely right. That's true. But even the law of gravity allows different outcomes that make it appear as if it does not exist. Consider an airplane flying through the sky, or someone throwing a ball horizontally to another person. The velocity behind an airplane or a ball allow them to remain airborne instead of falling instantly to the ground. And that can give someone the impression that the law of gravity does not apply. And there are certain aspects within the law of attraction that might give someone the impression that the law of attraction does not apply when it actually does. The second key concept, which I've already shared, but I'll just go over it one more time, and that is that the law of attraction has been around since creation. It is the foundation for all that has been created, is being created, and that will ever be created. Okay, as long as that's just how it works on a universal premise. The third key component is this. The law of attraction is utilized via energetic vibration. And here's where it starts getting sticky and where people start getting a little bit confused. So if I were to rename the law of attraction, I would actually call it the law of magnetic vibrational attraction, because everything in the universe is made up of energy. Einstein said it best. Everything is energy. The chair you're sitting on is energy. The air you're breathing is energy. The thought you're thinking is energy. The light that is lighting your home is energy, obviously. And so the way things appear in physical form or non-physical form depends on their energetic vibration. So everything in the universe is made up of energy. And I said energetic vibration because energy does one thing and it vibrates. And that's why they call it energy, because it's moving. And some energy moves really fast and some energy moves really, really slow. And so everything you see, taste, touch, smell, and hear is vibrating energy. It's just vibrating at different frequencies and velocities that allow it to have different shape and form, okay? So the objects that you are able to see, taste, touch, and smell, and the sound that you can hear is vibrating at a rate or frequency that is low enough and slow enough to allow you in your physical form to see it, to taste it, to touch it, to smell it, and to hear it. That is a really critical part to remember, and you'll understand why in a moment. And here's the other piece. Everything that you believe, that you think, and that you feel is also vibrational energy. It's just that it's vibrating so quickly and at such a high frequency that you can't see it, you can't taste it, you can't touch it, you can't smell it, and you can't hear it because you're in physical form. Now, let me kind of roll that back a little bit. When I say you can't see it, taste it, touch it, smell it, or hear it, what I'm saying is in physical form. It's not in a physical form. A belief is not in a physical form. You might see something in your mind's eye about what you believe or think a thought in an image, but it's not in physical form. So you can't actually there's no tangibility to it, no physical, you can't hold it, right? This is really important. And so everything that exists has its own vibrational frequency, whether it's something that you think or whether it's something that you eat. It has its own vibrational frequency. So the vibrational frequency of a table would be completely different than a vibrational frequency of a dog, for instance, and a vibrational frequency of a poodle would be different than the vibrational frequency of a German Shepherd, and the vibrational frequency of a German Shepherd would be different than the vibrational frequency of your particular German Shepherd. Even within the species, each one is an individual and has an individual signature vibration. And that is really important to understand. We are talking about vibrations, not things. So when Abraham Hicks says something like, you are a vibrational match, that is exactly what they are talking about. Everything has a vibrational signature, and the law of attraction works on the premise of matching vibrational frequencies each to one another. So, if this is kind of confusing, just please listen to the show again once it's in the archives on OMTimes.com, because this really is the basic structure underneath the law of attraction. And so that means that your physical body is energy. It's actually just energy vibrating at a unique frequency that is specific to you and only you. And everything around you that's in your reality is also simply energy vibrating at its own unique frequency or signature. So now nothing can show up in your awareness or reality unless it's vibrating at a frequency that closely matches your own signature frequency. This is what the law of attraction is all about. Like attracts like, right? So if you are vibrating at a frequency of, I don't know, earning an income of $30,000. And that really is like, you can connect with that. That's what works for you. That's what you believe that you can receive. That's really your vibrational alignment with that. However, if you decide, well, I'd really like to move into a job that's more of a six-figure position, if you're not in vibrational alignment with that six-figure position, if you really don't believe that you can receive that, if you have some doubt around it, that doubt changes your vibrational frequency, and then you're not a match. Okay, I hope that's making sense. So, but because really, in a sense, it's a pretty simple concept. we have the power, and here's the thing. It gets a little convoluted because we have the power to change our signature vibrational frequency. We have the power to change how we vibrate and the frequency that we vibrate, the rate that we vibrate. But what we don't realize is how quickly that vibration can vacillate one way or the other by how we're feeling, how we're thinking, and what we're believing. So that leads us to concept number 4 that is very critical and key, and that is, how do you change your vibrational frequency? How do you change your vibration? It's a mouthful, sorry about that. How do you change your vibrational frequency so that it's a perfect match for what it is that you desire to experience in your life? Well, this is where it starts to get kind of dicey because there are a lot of influences around this. So I'm going to ask 3 questions. I'm going to pose 3 questions here, and then I'm going to answer them for you. Okay, so you don't have to answer them, obviously. So, for instance, the first question that I want you to consider is, because a lot of people they'll go, okay, so this whole thing is about vibrational frequency, and I've heard that it's about changing my feelings and my emotions. So can I change my vibrational frequency if I change my feelings and emotions? And to that question, I would have to say, yes, but. And here's the but. The but is, it's really hard, it's really difficult, it's really challenging to change your feelings and your emotions unless you change your thoughts first, because there's a hierarchy here. Your thoughts are what drive your emotional states. And so then the second question that people then kind of ponder is, can you change your vibrational frequency by changing your thoughts? And again, I would have to say yes, but it's really difficult to keep those thoughts at a high vibrational level unless you change your beliefs first. So we're going to move on to a break. And when we get back, I'm going to finish this conversation. I'm going to ask another question, that third one. So stay tuned because there's more to come.
Free your mind. Expand your soul. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM. Host your show on IOM FM, the radio network of OMTimes Media, one of the more recognized brand names in the conscious community, and is backed by the extensive marketing reach of OMTimes. Hosting a show on IOM FM immediately connects you with our extensive dedicated community.
The Conscious Parenting Radio Show provides inspiration and resources for loving, empowering, and respecting your children and yourself. Join me, Timothy, every Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time as we consciously explore proven ways of living together in happiness, health, and harmony.
Hi, this is Angela Levesque, host of Entanglement Radio. Join me Wednesdays at 12 p.m. Eastern for inspiring conversations with visionaries in spiritual science and conscious healing. Entanglement Radio, Wednesdays at 12 p.m. Eastern. Transcendent talk for the conscious mind.
OMTimes Magazine is one of the leading online content providers of positivity, wellness, and personal empowerment. A philanthropic organization, their net proceeds are funneled to support worldwide charity initiatives via Humanity Healing International. Through their commitment to creating community and providing conscious content, they aspire to uplift humanity on a global scale. OMTimes, co-creating a more conscious lifestyle. Free your mind with OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
Hi there. Thank you for coming back. You're listening to the Intuitive Transformation Show with Sylvia Henderson, and I'm talking about how to create your reality using the law of attraction. And I've gone over a number of the key issues. For the key issues, the first one is that the law of attraction is a universal law of divine consciousness. The second key issue or concept is that the law of attraction has been around since creation, and it's the foundation of all that has ever been created. And the third one is that the law of attraction is utilized being energetic vibration, because everything is vibrational. And then number four is, that you can change your vibrational frequency, and then just how do you go about that? And so within that concept, we've discussed, or I've shared very briefly, that you can change your vibrational frequency by changing your feelings and emotions, but that it's kind of hard to do it that way. And that you can also change your vibrational frequency by changing your thoughts. But again, it's a little hard to do it that way because you have to change your beliefs to really be able to change your thoughts. And then number three is the last question to really ponder, which is, can you change your vibrational frequency by changing your beliefs? And I would have to say, absolutely yes. And but you have to change the beliefs that you are consciously aware of, and also the beliefs that you probably are not consciously aware of that are stored in the subconscious or unconscious mind, because there's a bit of a hierarchy in play here, and that is that your beliefs, conscious and unconscious, they create your thoughts, and your thoughts create your feelings, and your feelings create your emotions, your emotional states. So in that, I have to say that the unconscious beliefs, those are the ones that, even though you may not know what they are probably the biggest deterrents to the manifestation process. And here's why. Your mind has basically two functions. When psychologists or counselors or look at the mind, they think of it in two parts. And it's really not two parts. It's one mind with two different functions. And one of the functions is your conscious awareness, and the other is your unconscious awareness. And so these two are both part of the whole. And if you were to look, let me give you a visual. If you were to think of an iceberg in the middle of the ocean, and you know that tip of the iceberg that's above the surface, that would be representative of your conscious mind. And then that girth and width and breadth, that huge chunk of ice that's beneath the surface, that would represent your subconscious mind or your unconscious mind. Because what you're consciously aware of is minute by comparison of what you have stored in your memory banks within the recesses of your unconscious and subconscious mind. And so the ratio is pretty relational to the iceberg when you think of it, because it's about 10% of the iceberg is above the surface and the other 90% is below the surface. It's about the same when you think about your mind and how it's divided. It's 10% of your mind is what you're consciously aware of, and that other 90% you're not conscious of. And subconscious mind plays a big key. It's what keeps your heart going. It takes care of the autonomic nervous system, but it also is a huge recording bank, and it's recorded every single experience you've ever had in this lifetime. And it also has some record of what you've experienced in past lifetimes as well. And all of that is held there. And it's also, the subconscious mind is the doorway to the divine consciousness or super consciousness. And that's where we get all of our inspiration and our insights. That travels through the subconscious mind, travels through our imagination. And that is really kind of the fodder that we use to create and manifest with. So these beliefs that we have stored on a conscious level, we kind of know. But when you're stuck in a pattern and habits and things aren't working right or moving forward, or you're wanting to move forward, but you can't seem to break through and you've tried everything that you're consciously aware of, you better believe that it's your subconscious mind. There's something in there that has created a sticking place for you and is prohibiting you from moving forward. And for instance, if you think about someone who really wants to lose weight and yet they tend to sabotage themselves with their diets, they want to lose weight, but they always end up eating something late at night maybe they're not supposed to eat. Maybe I'm talking about myself, I don't know. But what's happening is that there's probably some kind of belief system about the benefit of not losing the weight, believe it or not, because even though you have this drive and this desire to want to lose the weight, if there's a program or a thought or a belief within your subconscious mind that says, well, if I lose this weight, then maybe I'll be too attractive and I don't want to deal with the attention. I know that may seem like, why wouldn't you want to deal with the attention? But trust me, some people have a problem with being seen. They feel more comfortable, more safe, being more invisible, that may not be the right word to use, but it's about not getting a ton of attention. For some people, getting a lot of attention is very, very uncomfortable. So they may unconsciously because of those beliefs that are stored in the unconscious mind, unconsciously eat things that would prohibit their weight loss process. And that's just one example. I can give you other examples, but I just wanted to give you a general idea of just how powerful those beliefs are. And those beliefs create our thoughts, and those thoughts create our feelings and emotions. And then all of that working together creates a vibrational signature, so to speak. So again, we have this hierarchy in place that people kind of forget. And what a lot of people have been doing is they've been trying to put the carriage before the horse, so to speak. They've been focusing so much on trying to change their feelings and their emotions first and not being successful at doing so. So then they end up denying what they're they go, well, okay, I won't feel this way then. I won't have this emotion. And then they're struggling and they're fighting with themselves. And unfortunately, that doesn't change the vibrational resonance because the emotion is still there. You're just not acknowledging it. And here's the truth about your emotional states. I get that you want to have a higher vibrational emotion. You want to feel good. You want to have joy. You want to feel excited about your life. That's important. And that does change your state of mind. It really does. But if you have these feelings of what some people would call negative emotions, if you trap them and hold on to them and refuse to express them because you think you might be tripping up the law of attraction, you're sabotaging it, actually. Emotions are energy. They're literally energy in motion. And they're meant to move through you and out. The key is to release those emotions so then you can vibrate at a higher vibrational level and have more access to joy and have more access to happiness and those good feeling, high vibrational emotions. And then, there are those that have also tried to change their thoughts, which again might be easier than trying to, stranglehold your emotional state. But because beliefs create the perceptions that you have of what is good and what is bad, you're constantly having to beat down those negative thoughts on a daily basis. And you can do that, but it doesn't tend to work very well. So I would like to propose something that might be considered a little easier. If you focus on transmuting or changing those underlying belief systems, and today's buzzword is mindsets, the judgments, if you stop judging what you're experiencing in your life, it's going to be a lot easier for you to create what it is that you want to create and maintain that high vibrational frequency resonance with what you want to attract and bring into your life. So there's another little concept that can be a major player in as an obstacle to actually experiencing the beautiful benefits of the law of attraction. And that is this span of time that I call the buffer of time. And maybe I've heard Abraham Hicks say this before, I'm not sure, but there's this buffer of time that occurs. So when you decide that you want to experience something in your life that you have never experienced before, there's a span of time, and that's that buffer of time I was referring to, that is created, that begins, that is between the moment you decide you want to experience something you desire and when that something actually shows up. And this buffer of time could be hours, days, weeks, months, or even a year, depending on how big of an experience you're desiring to create in your life. Like if you're desiring to create a business that is highly successful and that has employees, that is not going to manifest in a week. It's going to take some time for everything to get in alignment, everything to be pulled into place, all the action steps, the inspired action steps that you're going to have to take. It's going to take some time. But what's important is during this buffer of time that you maintain that high vibrational frequency that you had when you first created the idea of what it is you want to create. And it's in this buffer of time where a lot of the problems begin to happen. And this is where most people either give up on the law of attraction or they negatively impact and delay the process. Because remember, as I mentioned earlier, the thoughts and ideas that you have hold a very high and fast vibrational frequency. And so once you've decided what you want to experience in your life, it begins the process, but you don't see the physical manifestation of it yet. It becomes a complete thought or an idea that's assigned or carried a unique vibrational frequency, but it's not here yet. So we're going to head into another break. Just going to be a few moments away. Please stay tuned. We're going to continue our conversation when we return.
A conscious lifestyle for a mindful life. OMTimes Radio. IOM-FM. Host your show on IOM-FM, the radio network of OMTimes Media, one of the more recognized brand names in the conscious community, and is backed by the extensive marketing reach of OMTimes. Hosting a show on IOM-FM immediately connects you with our extensive dedicated community.
Hi, my name is Monica and I'm the host of Co-Creating Now. Give yourself an opportunity to connect with your all-knowing higher self and manifest joy, love and peace together every Tuesday, 11 a.m. Eastern.
Know what to do, just can't figure out how to fit it all into your busy life? It doesn't have to be that way. Hi, I'm Ellen Baisberg from Seamless Life. Join me every Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern on OMTimes Radio and learn the how of conscious living. Let me and my guests help make your life seamless.
As difficult as it is to believe, there are places in Africa where human traffickers sell albino children and their body parts for use in magic rituals. Humanity Healing International is actively working in Uganda to change this paradigm. The Albino Rescue Project finds albino children who are at risk and places them in safe schools and environments where they can learn and grow free from fear. To learn more or to sponsor a child, visit humanityhealing.org. Humanity Healing is where your heart is. Bringing you the best of the conscious minds in the world. OMTimes Radio, your conscious lifestyle on steroids.
Hello and welcome back. Thank you for listening to Intuitive Transformations. This is Sylvia Henderson, and I'm discussing how to create your reality using the law of attraction. And I've gone over quite a few concepts, some information that I hope is making some sense. I hope that it's bringing some clarity. Some of it you may have heard before, or maybe you're just hearing it this evening in a different way. It doesn't hurt to hear things more than once. I know that helps me in my learning process so that I can integrate it and apply it to my life. So before the break, we were talking about this other little kink in the hose called the buffer of time. I don't know what else to call it, but that's just that space where you've decided what you want to experience in your life, and you've made it a complete thought or an idea. And once that happens, the universe literally it makes it and it becomes its own energy. That idea and that thought carries its own unique vibrational frequency. And once you set that in motion, that is its frequency, unless you change it. I mean, sometimes you can set an intention and go back, I thought I wanted this, but now that I think about it, I think I want to change it a little bit. And you can do that too. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, the universe is a little bit like stepping into a restaurant where you can have anything you want on the menu, and you're seated at the table and the waiter comes in and says, well, what would you like? And you say, well, I think I'd like to have some beef. And I hope this doesn't offend any people that aren't beef eaters, but the waiter says, oh, okay, fine, and goes off to the kitchen and comes back with a hamburger. And you look at it and you go, well, no, that's not really what I wanted. I think I'd really like to have some steak. And the waiter takes the hamburger away and comes back and brings you a steak, and it's a T-bone, and what you really want is filet mignon. And you go, well, that's not really what I wanted. And then, he goes back, he brings you filet mignon, and it's like, well, this is well done. I really want medium rare. I mean, it can go on. And just know every time you change and shift it, it can sometimes slow down the process. So it's a good idea to have some clarity about what it is that you actually want, but there is no harm done in allowing yourself, giving yourself permission to change it and reassess what it is that you really do desire to receive in your life. And so anyway, that once you have that thought and that idea, it's assigned a unique vibrational frequency. And at the time that you actually create that thought and idea, you also completely and utterly 110% match that idea and thought's frequency. Because it's being birthed from you, and only in order for that to happen, you had to be in vibrational alignment. So you're sending out this non-physical form of what you desire to manifest in a lower, slow-moving form of energy that would be a physical form. And so as you are holding that thought and experiencing it within your thoughts as if it is real, you are in harmony and alignment with that idea, and you are a perfect vibrational match, right? But then, as you're waiting, and it takes time for those high vibrational thoughts that you had at the time of birthing the idea of what you'd like to experience, it takes time for that high vibrational thought to just slow down, to become a physical form, become a thing or an experience that's tangible, that's tactile, that you can see, taste, touch, feel, smell, hear, experience. It's easy to stop believing that it's not going to happen because you don't see anything physically there. And when you do that, once you step into the realm of disbelief, you lower your vibrational frequency instantly, and you're no longer in alignment with that magnetic and attractive pull of that thought that you first had, right? So here's the most important key to successfully receiving what you desire. You have to let go of how the process should look. You cannot be attached to how long it's going to take. You cannot be attached to how it's going to show up. And you can't be attached to what steps you think you need to take, because that'll just get you in the way. When you look to see if something is there and it's not physically there, you start to believe it's not happening because you can't see it. But the reality is this. It's just that it's still in non-physical form, because it's vibrating so quickly that your human eyes can't hear it. Think of it this way. There are sounds that a dog can hear that you can't hear, because their ears are tuned to a higher frequency of sound that the human ear cannot hear. Doesn't mean that the sound's not there just because we can't hear it. Obviously it is, because the dog can. It's the same thing with your thoughts and ideas. They are real, but they are just in non-physical form. And I believe that it's very possible that all of our positive thoughts, desires, and dreams are waiting to be birthed into physical form. But because we didn't see them manifest when we thought that they would manifest, they're just kind of hung there, hanging out, waiting for us to get back into that vibrational frequency alignment so that that magnetic pulling process can re-engage. So I know that we're running out of time this evening, and I can't dig as deeply as I really wish that I could. So I'm going to revisit this topic on another show in the future, because one of the other key components is how critical it is that we drop our judgments about what is going on and what isn't going on, and what something should be and what something shouldn't be, and how something should be and how something shouldn't be. That will definitely impede the process. Also have to drop our negative judgments about ourselves, because that gets in the way as well. For the most part, from what I've experienced in the work I do and from the information that I've read and studied, as a whole, individuals tend to run this program of, I am not good enough. I'm not tall enough. I'm not thin enough. I'm not pretty enough. I'm not handsome enough. I'm not smart enough. I'm not, financially wealthy enough. I'm not, I don't live in a good enough home. We have all of these good enough things that also significantly take our vibrational. They significantly tank and lower our vibrational frequency. And a lot of those I'm not good enough judgments are things that we accumulated from the time we were even conceived, sometimes in the womb, especially if it was a situation where Mom and Dad weren't quite sure that they really wanted to have another one. And then when you arrived into the home, they still weren't quite sure they wanted to have another one. That might leave you feeling that you're not good enough. You may feel that vibration of not being fully accepted, not being loved enough, not being accepted enough, not being wanted enough. And that feeds into that I'm not enough syndrome. So, that is another aspect of it that unfortunately I can't dig down as deeply as I would like to this evening, but I did want to just touch on it lightly. So before we end the show, I just want to remind you, if you want to contact me, please visit my website, intuitivetransformations.net, or you can visit my host page on OMTimes.com. And you can visit this show's page because this show will be in the archive. And if you'd like to add a comment, ask a question, you can do that there. There's a comment box on that page. So please feel free to do that, because as we move forward with more shows, I want to invite you to engage with me. And we'll get really creative about that, but I really want to make that start happen. One of the things I want to share before we get to the very end is something that Mahatma Gandhi is quoted as saying, and it really is in alignment with this law of attraction conversation, and that is, your beliefs become your thoughts become your words become your actions become your habits become your values, and your values become your destiny. We really are the creators of our own experiences. You are the captain of your ship. You are the one in charge of what happens to you in your life. So be consciously aware of the gift that you have been given to be the magnificent creator that you are. Be careful of your judgments. They're not necessary. They get in the way. They trip you up, and they limit your ability to access more of what life has to offer on a higher vibrational level. Let go of thinking what you should do and what you should not do. All of those are guilt-driven mindsets, which also prohibits your ability to feel worthy enough to receive your highest and best good. Because I do believe that the universe is a place of benevolence, a place of pure, unconditional love, and is all allowing. And there is absolutely nothing that you cannot be, do, or have. So until we meet again, have a wonderful, wonderful week. And I hope you'll join me again next week here on OMTimes Radio next Sunday. Take care and enjoy your life.